What it do, flight crew? FTC. Flight team stand up! FTC the strongest is finally August. We got Jimmy High Roller. They gave up on one of the best players in the world. Check it out.
Here's a chart of the best scorers of the 2016-2017 NBA season, featuring all of the greatest players in the game. LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Kawhi, Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis. But I want y'all to take a guess at who this player is. He scored more points in that season than any player I just named, averaging nearly 29 points for the entire season. Need another hint? Well, that same season, this player was an all-star and made the All-NBA second team, earning more votes than Paul George and Chris Paul, and earning nearly as many votes as Giannis and Kevin Durant. By virtually every metric, this player was a top 10 player in the NBA that season. But if you don't know who I'm talking about yet, let me compare him exclusively to his peers. In the 2016-2017 season, this player had a higher PER, more win shares, and averaged more points per game than Stephen Curry, Kyrie Irving, Chris Paul, and Damian Lillard. Sounds like an all-time talent, right? Well, these are the numbers from Isaiah Thomas. A man
but Isaiah Thomas is nice though. Why is it
was an MVP candidate,
he's just short,
but was abruptly bounced out of the league for reasons that just don't add up.
I honestly feel like it's his height.
They gave up on me.
That's so lit how he dropped 81. That is lit as heck, bro. I honestly see him going to the Lakers. I see the Lakers picking him up.
Pro-am in Atlanta.
Come back to this vid.
Put on a scoring clinic that only a lethal NBA vet could
or to eat. That's crazy because like growing up like back in Florida and stuff, like there are so many like hoopers that like are that like Isaiah Thomas like player build, but they just short as fuck. So just being short is already a disadvantage. Remember, we did see these highlights to ourselves. This might be a different angle. It's a nice angle. You got a 99 offense, but the defense is like 45.
65-point performance by the once great Celtic.
Oh, this is 65.
And this pro-am is no joke, featuring NBA players like Paul Millsap, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, and Mike Scott.
I don't know who any of those players are.
High-talent college players and overseas pros. To go out and score 65 on any level is incredible, and to do it in this summer league is just that more special.
I feel like honestly one of the summer leagues, bro, I can just score like 65, bro. Some of the competition, bro.
A new league record for points.
But still, you know what I'm saying?
Follow up this
it's definitely skill. I'm not talking about this particular game. I'm talking about like another game, like where that Jay Morant dude play that. Bro, I dropped 65 over there, bro. Ah, it's a closer camera angle. He didn't even look. He didn't even look. Yeah, bro, he's gonna get back in the NBA. He's gonna be one of those that has like the biggest comeback story. And how old is he? Ain't he like 25, 28? Not even that old.
Just a week after his 65-point game, Isaiah Thomas flew across the country to Jamal Crawford's Pro-Am in Seattle and put up 81 points.
Yeah, that's the one I was telling you how we reacted
scoring
to.
record of 66 points set 2 years ago by NBA guard Langston Galloway. Again, IT did this against pro-level competition. 81 points. Mans had 48 in the second half, being guarded by everyone on the opposing team, including guys with NBA size and length. There was literally nothing they could do about it. Even Jamal Crawford, who's been hosting the Summer League for almost 2 decades and has seen it all, is on the sideline like, What am I witnessing? And this Pro-Am has been one of the most prolific ones in recent history. A few years ago, Zach LaVine pulled up and dropped 50 points. Kevin Porter Jr. scored 40 points in a game a couple years ago. Aaron Gordon came through and put up 36. DeJounte Murray, a homegrown talent, scored 44 points in the crossover Pro-Am. But nobody has done what Isaiah Thomas did last week. So my question to the NBA is, why is this man not in the league? If you can watch this footage and tell me with a straight face that this is not NBA level talent, you're out of your mind. In 2017, Isaiah Thomas averaged 28.9 points per game.
Sheesh.
Out of every single active NBA player, only 10 have averaged that many points in a single season, including 6 MVPs and 6 scorers.
Where's Allen Iverson at?
All of these players will eventually be first ballot Hall of Famers. And then there's Isaiah Thomas.
Not Bradley Beal. He's not no first ballot Hall of Famer, baby. This dude's capping. Yo, High Roller, are you friends with him or something, bro? You can keep it real, bro. You don't gotta be a yes man, bro.
NBA roster, bouncing from the Celtics to the Cavaliers to the Lakers to the Nuggets to the Wizards to the Pelicans.
Damn, he got bounced around. What the fuck?
Seasons for a player that not too long ago was doing things that only generational talent has accomplished. Can someone offer me a real reason why Isaiah Thomas isn't in the NBA? The only knock on his game that anyone ever suggests is his height, which leads to him being a massive defensive liability. But in his last 3 full seasons in the NBA, Isaiah had an average defensive box plus minus of -0.9, which sounds bad, but it's not much worse than many other star point guards in the NBA. Over the last 3 seasons, Stephen Curry has had an average defensive box plus minus of -0.3.
That's
Damian
false.
Lillard has
Nothing
had
is a
an
negative
average
with Curry.
DBPM of -0.9. De'Aaron Fox has had a DBPM of -0.5 over the last 3 seasons. Since entering the NBA, John Morant has had a DBPM of -1.6.
Damn.
And Trae Young has had
terrible.
an average DBPM of -2.3.
That's all right.
Teams are willing to give up a little bit more on the defensive end if it means they get excellent output on the offensive end, especially for guards. But for some reason, this exception is not made for Isaiah Thomas. The misconception that his defense is so bad that he isn't even worth having on a roster is just flat out wrong. And other than this one critique, I can't even think of another reason why teams continue to pass up on him. There are 450 roster spots in the NBA, and every single player that has one is in the extremely small percentage of basketball players that deserve one. Even the worst NBA player could walk all of us in a game of one-on-one. But with that being said, a 35-year-old Jared Dudley is still on the Lakers offering nothing but meme material. The Cavaliers signed a 38-year-old Anderson Varejao last season just to give him another shot. For crying out loud,
Anderson
Udonis Haslem has played 15 games
Bro,
in 3
you
seasons,
Udonis
and he
Haslem
just
got the
signed
bag,
another deal
secured
with
that
Heat.
bit.
Dude's stat sheet just says moral support. And I know I'm being
What?
harsh to get my point across, but you cannot convince me that of the 450 roster spots in the NBA, Isaiah Thomas hasn't earned one of them. This man averaged 35 points per game for an entire month. He dropped 52 points in a game, then turned around and dropped 53 points in the playoffs against a prime John Wall. The only player in NBA history under 6 feet tall to drop 50 plus points in a playoff game. And the most recent player under 6 feet to score 50 plus points in an NBA game since Damon Stoudemire did it in 2005. He put up 44 points against an excellent defender in Tony Allen. He put 39 points on Derrick Rose's head. He dropped 41 on Lillard. He dropped 38 on Patrick Beverly.
Damn.
He put up 41
Nothing on
against
Curry,
Reggie
though.
Jackson, and he smoked Kyle Lowry for 44 points. This excellence is not a fluke, and it is obviously a skill set that is NBA worthy.
I'm gonna
Now,
start
sure,
using that
these
half
games
spin
were
move.
4 years ago, and things have changed since then. If you look at Isaiah's numbers since that season, they've clearly fallen off dramatically. But only a fraction of this decline can be attributed to his injuries or him just getting worse.
What did he get injured
the
from
main
again?
factor here is a lack of opportunity. In Boston, the Celtics gave Isaiah the keys to the offense. They allowed him to actually use his skill set the way it was meant to be used. And clearly, it worked. Since that season, the Celtics had the best record in the Eastern Conference and made it all the way to the conference finals. The heart and soul of that team being Isaiah Thomas. Just look at this starting 5. Isaiah Thomas made it to the conference finals with this starting 5 and was sadly and unjustifiably stripped away from his role the very next season, which was the genesis of his downfall. NBA GMs would rather have a prototypical lanky 6'7" forward who comes off the bench every once in a while and will give them 5 points rather than an Isaiah Thomas who is a proven talent. NBA teams would rather have a 7-foot center with no merit to experiment with and throw money at for 5 seasons than have Isaiah Thomas. And I don't get it. The man is 32 years old. He's a 2-time All-Star who's been a part of NBA culture for a decade. I just don't get it. A few years ago, when news broke that Isaiah's sister passed away, this man still came out the next day with a heavy heart and had a monster game in the playoffs against the Bulls. He showed determination, he showed courage, and he showed leadership. This performance, although far from his best, was defining for him in his career. This man has never had an easy path. He's had to fight through adversity even in his brightest moments. So to see him like this, with NBA teams continuing to turn him away and refusing to acknowledge the hard work and dedication he has poured into his craft, is just sad.
For real,
he doesn't deserve this. I really hope Isaiah Thomas is given another opportunity to
That's crazy, man, because if Isaiah doesn't even get back to the league, that just shows that the NBA is transitioning too. Because remember, like back in the day, like, okay, I'm gonna show you.
Next time.
So like basically like back in the day, you know what I'm saying? Like from what I've heard from older adults, like in the like 70s, 80s, if you was like 6'5", you was considered like a 7-foot type of center. But now obviously that don't exist no more. Now it's like 7 feet and up for like a legit center. You know what I'm saying? I think for point guards don't have to start being like my height and up, bro. The FlightReacts height, like 6'3.5". I think that might be the start. You know what I'm saying? Because they're looking at it on the defensive, end and everything. So, hey, man, I hope Isaiah gets in, man. He definitely does deserve to get in. So hopefully see what happens. As usual, man, coming up a little extra, yes, man, on the road. 4 minute.